the final score, Wrexham 1, Crewe Alexandra 0, and that was an interesting exercise, wasn't it? Two heavily rotated teams. Wrexham come out of it in the end. Crewe's side, as the tradition goes, back for years, packed full of good young players and technically neat. But ultimately we triumph because our own young player comes up trumps, because our experienced players come off the bench and make a bigger impact than theirs do, and also because a guy who hasn't had a club until Saturday morning steps up to the plate and has a crazy debut and goal for us. So, yeah, Wrexham rotating all 11 players and making his debut in goal, of course, because Mark Howard, as our only fit goalkeeper, is being wrapped in cotton wool, is Bradley Foster, who's been training with us and does enough to get a chance as our emergency backup keeper. And he would have quite the day. Wrexham, like I said, rotating completely, although interesting to see George Dobson in the side, having been out through suspension. He may well be in contention to start on Saturday. And likewise, interesting to see Paul Mullin not in the starting lineup. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be his moment to try and get going again with a full 90. But anyway, those things didn't occur. And Crewe also rotated their team. They're doing really well, 4th in League 2, really flying at the moment. They kept 3 players from the side that played last Saturday in the league, the goalkeeper, Marshall, and 2 of their 3 centre-backs, Collins and Williams. Very young team for them. They had Powell, the centre mid, who was 30, and then the next oldest was 23. But then, as I say, Crewe do bring through a lot of young players, and players like Billington and Lunt, who started the match, played against us in the league last season. So, yeah, rotators, but still 2 good sides. Wrexham had the first threat, a corner that was half cleared, and Mo Farrell, oh man, I mean, audacious? Yes. He's a good 25 yards out, and as the ball comes looping towards him, he strikes a volley beautifully. I mean, what a crazy idea to hit it from there. But he drills it. It's on target, and Marshall has to get down full length to put it around the post for the corner. However, as the game goes on, naturally there's a disjointed, quality to the game, because these are 2 11s who don't play together regularly. And Crewe actually start to get the ball moving around better than we do. In fact, they get their next opportunity. Powell with a good pass down the left-hand side. Finney sweeping the ball in, and Brecken on the half volley on loan from Man City. He has struck the ball well. Foster got down well to parry it away to safety. Wrexham then come forwards. Tom O'Connor really, especially in the opening half hour, looking to bring the ball out and dominate play. Does well, feeds it down the left-hand side. Mendy accelerates, pulls it back for Josh Adam, who sets himself Elliot Lee style on his right foot, left of centre, just outside the D. But his shot is deflected and spins just wide of the far post. But yeah, Crewe start to get a bit more of a grip. It's not a fluent game. It's not a thriller. But their midfield are looking comfortable. Powell in the middle of their midfield, really tidy on the ball. His first start in 14 months. He had a very bad injury a year last October. And he lasted the 90 minutes, and I thought brought a bit of quality to their play. And they were building up nicely. They were looking to get down the flanks when we were committing down the wings as well. And yeah, I thought they looked decent. Scary moment for Wrexham and Foster in the 25th minute. When the ball's knocked long, Thibault lays it back to his fellow striker Roberts, who hits an audacious shot from a good 30 yards out at least. Foster seems to get a good sight of it, but makes the ugliest, awkwardest of saves with his right foot. The ball, I can only assume, must have been really wobbling in front of him. It comes very low, but he never gets down to it and just manages to jab a foot out and get it away. Like I say, an unconvincing moment, but you've got to say that as a goalkeeper, rule number 1, don't let it past you. And that he did do. And everything else he did in this match was impressive. So we can most definitely cut him a bit of slack on that one. Immediately after that, Crewe get the ball back and rip in a great cross from the right-hand side, and Dan Scarr, the captain, third captain in 3 games, makes a superb lunging interception. It was almost like a sort of glitching game of FIFA or something. Somehow he managed to lunge either side of the player who was going for it, almost like he'd gone through him without touching him, and gets the ball clear. Brilliant piece of work by him. Bad news, though, comes just after the half hour. James Jones, making his first appearance since he was out with an injury, breaks down again. Sadly, as he breaks down the right-hand side, he has to come off. Andy Cannon, forced into action earlier than I think Phil Parkinson would have wanted him to be, comes on as his replacement. And Cannon's immediately very eager, but does make a mistake, an unfortunate mistake, a minute after coming on. He slips when he's in possession of the ball in his own half. Finn Roberts picks it up and drives forwards, drills the ball into the goal mouth. It's a dangerous, dangerous cross. Thibault just misjudges it 6 yards out, and it sort of hits his heel and ricochets back to Roberts, who may be offside. He's very close to goal, but he is almost right on the goal line, and he decides to smash it first time. Horrible angle, and he nails it, gets it on target. A big right hand by Foster to push it round the post. Made himself big, Ben Foster style, dare I say it, and gets a strong hand on it and puts it around the post. Wrexham come back at the other side. A nice move. Dobson working it around the corner. Cannon helping it wide. Ford cutting back in the left foot and sweeping in a ball which Farl jumping at the near post. Back heads, but he can't quite direct it on target. A difficult finish, especially with the centre-back touch tight right behind him and putting him under pressure. But then Crewe go straight up the other end, and they have another moment. Again, Roberts and Thibault linking it well. This time Thibault drills a good shot from outside the box, and again Foster gets down well to his left and parries it with strong wrists. And again, Crewe are repelled by the debutant keeper. In the 4th minute of added time at the end of the first half, Wrexham nearly fashion a breakthrough. Superb ball from deep, very deep, by Ford in between the centre-backs. Josh Adams made a terrific run. He just can't get the proper contact on it. He's accelerating onto it. It's about 15 yards out. He gets a foot to it, but he just can't quite get there to hit it. If it had been 6 inches closer to him, he probably would have tested the keeper. So we go on at the break. I think it would be reasonable to say Crewe had marginally the better of the first half. Certainly worked the goalkeeper more than we did. Wrexham come out, and as we often see, clearly Phil Parkinson has said, come on lads, press the reset button, put some pressure on the ball, and Cannon in particular is notable in trying to do that. Dobson joins him as well in trying to pressure Crewe, but they weather Wrexham's early enthusiasm, and then they again go close. Really nice move, which ends with Roberts on the turn on the edge of the area drilling in a shot. Another good parry by Foster. Wrexham look to respond, though, and carve out the best chance of the match so far. It's ball into the penalty area, which Farl drills from around the penalty spot. A defender lunges and gets a really good block on it. This is all after Mendy has stood it up to the far post and Ford's nodded it back to Farl. Farl shot blocked, but ricochets towards goal. Bodvarsson 6 yards out. I mean, it's just one of those. It's a shame. It looks bad. I think I've got a lot of sympathy for him. It's flashing across him quickly. The deflection is right next to him, so he's got very little time to react, but the goal is gaping. The keeper's there, but he's close in, and he stretches as well. It doesn't quite drop kindly for him. It's just one of those, if you can get on top of it enough to put it under the bar, you've scored. He couldn't quite, and it went over. Wrexham continue to start to create. It's looking better now. O'Connor gets into the box down our left channel, drills a powerful on-target shot, which is well blocked, comes back and hits him on the hand, drops down, he hits another shot. That's blocked too, but the referee has blown the whistle for handball anyway. And then in the 64th minute, we decide it's time to start bringing the big guns on. Bodvarsson and Adam go off, and on come Elliot Lee and Paul Mullin. And almost immediately, Mullin nearly has an opportunity. A poor back pass by Billington. Mullin racing onto it in a good position. Terrific tackle by Knight LaBelle. Young centre-back, did really well. to come across and deny Mullin. Lee is immediately lively, and you can just see those two coming on has just raised Wrexham's level. We're starting to get on top of Crewe now, although they have an opportunity. Powell with a quick free kick in midfield finds Lunt, who drives down the left channel, cuts inside, drills in a shot. Good work again by Foster, who gets his hands up above his head and is able to parry. The corner comes in, and in a crowded penalty area about 15 yards out, Roberts hits a shot. It hits Aaron James on the hand. Referee is not interested. Looking at his position, I think he's unsighted as well, to be honest. It's not the worst penalty shout. I mean, I think it would be harsh if it was given. But although James is very close to Roberts, which mitigates in his favour, his arm is up. So, I don't know. I think it would be harsh, but you've definitely seen them given. Wrexham, though, start to up it again. Now we have one more opportunity before the big decisive change. That opportunity comes when Farl does well, picking up a pass from Ford. It falls back to Ford on the right. He feeds it down the line. Aaron James on the overlap, plus a beautiful cross into the far post, and Mendy arriving. It's a good chance, unmarked, 8 yards out. Just can't quite get on top of it and heads it over the bar. 13 minutes left, and like I said, the change of shape. Palmer comes on. So does Seb Revan. Off go Ford and Mendy. Wrexham goes to a flat back four. That old attacking formation, Parks and Lights, the diamond midfield. Mullin is now playing behind Farl and Palmer. It's quite a combination for the centre-backs to handle. Aaron James is a right-back now with Revan on the left. And Wrexham push on and immediately have, a moment. Again, Paul Mullin. One of those heartbreaking Paul Mullin moments this season. Revan, brilliant burst down the left-hand side, pulls it back. Big chance for Mullin. This time, it's not a poor finish, though. It's a superb block. He sets himself. He's 8 yards out. You think, this is it. He's got it. And Billington comes from nowhere and makes a fantastic block to put it behind for the corner. But it's a temporary respite because the corner is swept in. It's cleared, but Mullin does superbly, breaking it off to the right-hand side. He sprints after it. He could leave it for a throw. He's not going to do that, not least because he knows he's got space behind him and time to measure across. So he keeps it in and then rips in the most perfect cross. And Aaron James leaping in, heads it home. Great header. Quite close to the keeper, but he's got virtually no chance because it's powerful and it's downwards. And before he can properly react, the ball's in the net. And Aaron James has got his first goal in senior football. Crewe respond. Great ball in from Powell, crossing it into the box. And Foster does ever so well to take it off the striker's head. Really good work by the keeper. That's with 7 minutes to go. The referee adds on 6 minutes from somewhere on the second half. But it doesn't matter. There's just no more alarms. Wrexham closed the game out, as we have so often this season, with terrific confidence. What's that? Is that 4 or 5-1? 4 1-0s in a row. If we win 1-0 on Saturday, I'd rather we win 20-0, to be honest. But if we win 1-0 on Saturday, we will equal the club record, 5 1-0 wins in a row. We've also just stacking up the clean sheets. We've had 5 consecutive clean sheets, which is the third best one in the club's history. We've had 7 consecutive home clean sheets, which is a record for Wrexham since we joined the Football League in 1921, and that is significant because that's the first time we join, if you will, level playing field divisions rather than regional ones, so you're actually playing against teams of your quality. So there are 2 longer runs back in our ancient history, but they're not against strong opposition. So they are the records. We can't claim to be the third oldest club in the world and ignore our pre-Football League history, but to set a record out in 1921 is genuinely significant, and that's quite something, isn't it? Amazing. Or is it 693 minutes without conceding at home? I think that's wrong. But it could be right. Who cares? Important thing is we're not conceding at home. And we're through to the last 16 of the newly named Virtue Trophy. The draw Saturday morning, I believe. And there's a a few strong sides in League One that have been knocked out already. I suspect we'll still rotate in the next round. It'd be nice to get a home tie. It'd be nice to get a step further towards Wembley. If we win in the next round, we're 2 games from Wembley. Anyway, let's look at the performances. Well, man of the match, plainly, is Bradley Foster. He made a lot of sharp saves, did really, really well. And that one nervous moment, like I said, is more than compensated for by the performance afterwards. And not only that, watching him, one of my thoughts was, okay, not convinced about him in the air. He was coming and punching a lot, which is no sin, but not punching with great distance. But then that's why I mentioned that last incident, the catch on the cross. It was a great cross, and he took responsibility at a late stage in the game. You could just see his confidence was growing and growing, and whereas I'd been putting quite weak punches in before, he just came, attacked it, and took it really cleanly straight off the striker's head. It was a great piece of play. A goalkeeper with less confidence, maybe him at the start of the game even, would have stayed on their line, but he wanted to do the job for the team, attacked it, and got his reward. No question he's player of the match. There were a couple other really good performances that I'll get to, but yeah, especially in the circumstances, it's a proper fairy tale one, isn't it? Great stuff from him. Looking at the centre-backs, I thought O'Connor was very impressive. He had a real battle with Thibaut, the young but quick and powerful striker. The referee, I thought, was a tiny bit lenient to O'Connor, who was, buffeting him from behind quite a lot. But he was good, and O'Connor was bringing it out at his feet as well. It was good work by him, so I was impressed with his performance. Dan Scarr, the skipper in the middle of the defensive 3, did a Dan Scarr thing, just physically resolute, and defended his penalty area extremely well. They didn't get any change out of him. And huge credit for Aaron James, who has really played well in this competition. He looks so confident. He's definitely grown since last season. When you could see he's got something, he's very much the sort of Wrexham's equivalent of Max Cleworth, if you will. He looks so promising. He's good on the ball. He drives forwards, and he's got a future. Nicely taken goal as well. On the wings, Anthony Ford, back in his regular wing-back position, had no problems defensively, played a couple of really good balls into the penalty area as well. What a professional Ford is. He's always aware and alert and covering spaces. His movement is good in terms of spotting threat as well. On the other side of the pitch, Mendy played well. He's getting limited chances at the moment. He started really well, driving forwards, getting into crossing positions. He nearly scored late on with a header as well, and it was a really good run out for him. In the centre of midfield, George Dobson, increasingly as the game went on, showed authority on the ball. He had a couple of little sloppy passing moments which weren't like him. He's so good in possession early on. He got over that, and especially in the second half, I thought he was playing some really judicious forwards passes, trying to drive us forwards. Poor James Jones was working hard, winning the ball, linking up with play, and then broke down, and that was a shame to see. And the third centre mid, Josh Adam, he's a nice technical player, isn't he? He has a couple of fantastic first touches when the ball's dropping awkwardly, and he just kills it dead. As the game wore on, he wasn't quite having the influence he'd have liked to have done, wasn't quite finding that chance to play a killer ball in towards the strikers, wasn't quite finding shooting positions. So I think as the game went on, he may have got a bit more frustrated. Up front, I thought Farrell and Botherson played perfectly well. In the first half particularly, they didn't get enough good service, and I thought they were working hard. There was some good movement. Both of them were doing all right in the air and holding the ball up, but they just weren't quite getting enough. Botherson had that one big chance in the second half. Like I said, I think it was harder than it looked, and Farrell stayed on for the full 90 and was a bit of a handful for the Crewe defenders. But again, apart from a couple of block shots, didn't quite get a chance to really cause issues for their defence. As I said, Wrexham's bench was, I think, the decisive factor, really. Elliot Lee was excellent when he came on. Really enlivened things. A great cameo by him. Likewise, Mullin worked hard. Those defenders, having been worn down by Botherson and Farrell, did not enjoy having him getting at them, and a great assist from him. Cannon, of course, came on in the first half, and he did really well. Good spiky performance by him. And like I said, in terms of pressing, he led the press really well in the Crewe half. And I think, that improved our game, especially, at the end when you've got quite an experienced midfield in there. We were pushing up the pitch and putting pressure on Crewe in their own half, like we do normally at home. And Cannon was key in that. Palmer came on quite late on, won a couple of decent enough headers. And who on earth was the other player who came on? Oh, yeah, of course, Seb Revan, who did brilliantly to tee up Mullin for that chance, which led to the corner, which led to the goal. And yeah, he has a couple of good bursts down the flank. So Wrexham are through. In the last 16, still regionalised the next round. So let's hope for a nice home draw. Get a bit closer to Wembley. Why the hell not? With a final score of Wrexham 1, Crewe Alexandra 0. I'm Mark Griffiths from Wrexham AFC.